Hello, people. I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by Achara KIRK.
What's up?
We just got done watching episode 9 of Scam 1992. This episode is called Ek Crore Ka Suitcase. We have a one-liner from IMDb here. The government tries to negotiate with HARSHAD MEHTA and his lawyer, but eventually it didn't work. And one day, HARSHAD, along with his lawyer, Mr. Ram Jeth Malani, conducted a press conference in which publicly tell everyone that the PM PV Narsimharo had been given a briefcase of 1 crore rupees. I am so glad that we didn't read this before watching the episode.
Oh, thank God, yeah, because that basically just gave away everything.
That was the big plot twist of this episode.
I feel like whoever wrote this is not the person that's written all the other ones, because this was very much so there's no mystery at all. This is exactly what happened, but that's literally what happened at the very end of the episode.
This episode really had me feeling for HARSHAD MEHTA.
Yes.
And man, his acting is so damn good.
Yes.
Like, I really, really like his performance. Like, this was my favorite episode for him so far.
For Pratik Gandhi, yeah.
Sorry, Pratik Gandhi, that's what I meant to say. His acting is so damn good, like, throughout the show, but in this particular episode, I was just like, dang, like, I really enjoy just watching him perform, because he's such a good actor. I think I've said that in some form or another in previous reviews, but I just wanted to highlight that again, because it's just, he's so captivating to watch.
Yeah.
The second person I would say is Rajat Kapoor. There's this interesting dynamic that happened in the middle of the episode where he was taken off of the CBI case.
It was right at the beginning of the episode, in fact.
Oh, I thought it was like, okay, anyway.
Yeah, it was right at the top.
So it was near the beginning of the episode. I apologize. And what happened was there's this interesting dynamic based on the actors they've chosen and the performances of these actors, because you can tell that the guy who's in charge of CBI, you can tell that he doesn't have the command of Madhavan. He doesn't have that power that Madhavan has, because Madhavan is so deeply rooted in his nobility, his righteousness, like his high horse, his code. He's so deeply entrenched in his code. Nothing can come between that, right? Whereas Dast doesn't have a code. He's just
no
like
backbone.
He has no backbone, right? He's a parrot, as Madhavan had pointed out. And so when he was trying to put Madhavan in his place, it was a very, very interesting scene. I really like the blocking and the performances in that scene, because I'm like, this dude can't hold a candle to Madhavan. I'm like, what the fuck? He's not going to be able to take his ass down. And so it was like really curious to see the outcome of the scene, because I'm like, there's no damn way Madhavan is just going to like take this. He's just going to bend over.
Well, it was just so interesting as well, because you saw like the back and forth, because in the beginning he comes in really strong and then his boss says, no, you can't do that. And then you watch him just kind of squash the flame of like defiance and anger and go, all right, sir. Okay. And then it's like squashed down. And then when he's like, oh, you should just, we'll like fire you basically, or you can, and then he's all like, well then, I'm just gonna resign. And then you see all that power that comes out, that he's standing in his righteousness. And I thought as well, like right at the beginning of the episode when they were interrogating Bhushan, and it was just like so uncomfortable to watch, because the treatment that he received was so inhumane, right? Like being given a wet cloth with pee to like wipe on his face. I was like, oh, that's awful. And then there he is, and I'm like, oh my God, I hate this guy. But then I watched him in the next scene where he basically stood up for himself and was like, well, I'm going to resign, and then you explain that to the press or whatever, because it's going to look really bad. I was like, you know what, as a character, as a person, like even though I might not like him and how he interrogated, in that moment I was like, but you're a strong person, you're a strong character, and I can respect that even if I don't agree with you.
Yeah. No, the method, the torture thing is just like a bit much for I think anybody to watch. For me, like I'm not even contextualizing it with him in the rest of the show. I just like that scene a lot.
Yeah, it was a really, really good scene.
Because both actors are just on point. All these roles feel really lived in is the thing. And so you really buy each of these characters in these roles, in the positions that they hold, and you kind of had an inkling as to how Madhavan was going to react to the situation, but the length he took it to and the way he just mic dropped that moment twice, I was like, whoa, I did not know that was going to happen. I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. I thought it was powerful. It was just a very, very powerful scene. You seeing all the strings being pulled from the very top to, Sucheta being followed and whatnot, and like...
It's getting like really, really...
conspiracy theory.
Exciting and just harrowing, just watching it and being like, okay, are they going to be okay? Are they going to get away with this? What's going to happen?
Right. And what's so fascinating to me is that had Citibank decided to work with Harshad Mehta,
yes,
none of this would have happened.
I know, because when he goes up in court, and then there was that moment, right, where a dude from Delhi talked to Harshad in the hotel, and it was like, oh, so you've just come here now that you know that I have to do this hearing. How interesting.
Right. He goes, you didn't tell me you were coming into town. He goes, I tell my friends when I'm coming into town.
Burn. Zinger, Harshad. He was all like, just don't say anything about the Prime Minister. And he doesn't in that hearing. And I thought, oh, wow, how smart of him to divert the attention to Citibank. But it is true, though, everything that he was saying. It was like, yeah, Citibank was kind of the king of all that. Like, they were doing all that stuff. You guys should be investigating them, not me.
It was a good misdirection.
It was a good misdirection.
Yeah.
And so that's why I thought, like, at the very end of the episode, when you see them again with that same dude at another hotel, and then he's all like, don't say anything about the Prime Minister, I thought that he wouldn't. But then to see that and then have the real footage cut in as well, I was like, holy, like my mind was just blown that he did that, because that sort of stuff, I don't know about in the West, but just like from growing up in Asia, right? That sort of stuff just would not happen. Like that was a really big deal.
Well, we had Nixon.
Yeah, to go up against the top honcho.
We had the Nixon scandal. We had Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Like, stuff comes out, and it's like, we've had some pretty crazy shit happen in this country. I know that's not like the same as this, but
But do you think you would fear for your life doing that in America? Where I feel like I don't know.
That's the whole reason. That's the whole conspiracy theory around JFK. Like, if you go and watch that film, you see like there's death and stuff that follows the JFK thing. It still follows. Who knows what's going on there? But it's still like so many people have died in the Kennedy family. It's just crazy. And so why did that all happen? Is it just a weird coincidence or something else going on?
It's a curse.
But like. You'd like to think, but it just seems odd that it just all these Kennedys are getting like offed like that.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's just suspect is what it comes down to. It was just a very satisfying episode, because it's like in the beginning, what they did was they showed like this grim situation, how dark it is, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. You're like, how is it going to get out of this? And then you see light at the end of the tunnel, and then that light just spreads and spreads and spreads, and then kaboom! Like the end of the episode when they just like let it out of the bag, and they're like, yo, it's all the way up at the top, yo.
Yeah, like don't look at me. It was right there, and like so many of the villains in this, I really hate them. So I just want to say they did a really good job. Like the Swami guy, he just made me feel so uncomfortable watching him. And just, I think it's also that notion of someone who is supposed to be a holy man, right? A religious guy. He's supposed to stand for all that is good and be above politics and whatever, but he's like right there in the middle of it and being controlling, and just the way he was, I was just like, he just made me feel uncomfortable and just gross.
People in power will abuse that power from time to time, and it happens more often than you think, and most of the time you don't hear about it. That's the honest truth. So many people in positions of power abuse their power, and you just never find out. Like the stories you hear about, I feel like are the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that we don't know about.
Exactly. And so most of it never gets found out. That's just sort of what I accept as part of reality. But to see it come out to where the Prime Minister is involved, I was like, well, that's a real scandal.
Yeah, no,
Jesus.
It totally is. And I really liked the new character we got to meet, his lawyer. Yeah, there
was a lot of truth in that conversation, because like I was thinking about all the stuff that lawyer said leading up to this episode, because I'm like, God, like all the stuff I've learned about what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do, is that just not applicable in India?
Well, that's what I was wondering, because you showed me that really great video. If you guys, I mean, what should people search for if they want to watch it? It's like an hour long.
We can put a link in the description.
But it's basically this lawyer teaching a class full of lawyers and going, don't ever talk to the police. Yeah. Never, ever, ever talk to the police. Always say, speak to my lawyer. Yeah. Speak to my lawyer. Speak to my lawyer. Yeah. And then I was thinking about that, like you said, the whole time this was happening. And then at the very end, you see this new lawyer guy be like, what the F-bomb, you guys?
Yeah.
Why did you talk to them?
Yeah, because you can inadvertently give them information that's going to indict you in this, like, or not indict you, but like make your situation worse, because like, they can spin everything.
Yeah, because it makes you look like you're lying. Like that bit in the show where he was questioned about the 1 crore in the suitcase or like all of these transactions, and he goes, I can't remember. And then the lawyer's like, oh my God, oh, you shouldn't have said that. But luckily, whatever said in the interrogation will not apply.
It's not admissible.
It's not admissible in court, right? Which in the US it is. So he would have been screwed if that happened here. But luckily not, because what they could have done was gone, oh, see, he knew he was lying though. Mm-hmm. So now, he seems like an uncredible witness or whatever.
With regards to that little artistic choice that you mentioned where they integrated the actual footage, I did think that was neat. Intellectually, I have some mixed feelings about it, but emotionally, I'm like, that worked. They managed to do a good job there with that, because I think that in the past, I normally don't like that. I don't like the integration of actual footage because it breaks my suspension of disbelief, but I think that it actually worked effectively here, and it's the first time, it might be the first time that I have ever seen anything like that and been okay with it. It's not something where I go, I appreciate it. It's like, I'm fine with this.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You start to really fall in love with. That's the easiest way I can paint it. It's like you fall in love with how this is being shown to you, and then it gets broken with, here's the actual footage. You know what I'm saying? And I'm okay with it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think the reason why it worked is because it reminds you in that moment, because this is the first time they've done that so far, I think.
Yeah.
And so it just reminds you in that moment of like, what a big deal that was when it actually happened, when it's like linking the real life and the fictional.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so powerful, because you're suddenly reminded that this isn't just a show that you're watching, like these events actually happened.
Yeah. I think that epilogues and real life photos and the credits is enough for me.
I enjoy those as well.
Those are enough for me. But like, I'll take it back to Seabiscuit. There's this scene towards the end of the film where, Tobey Maguire, that's the actor, he was riding on the horse and he's about to hit his victory. And then it cuts to all these images of people listening around the radio, because that's what you did back then. That was your TV, was the radio. And it's real photos of people back then listening to the game. And I'm like, I didn't need that. Like, I was so immersed in this reality that you've constructed for me, and now you've taken me out of it and shown me real stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't want that yet. Like, I just want to see you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm harping on this, as just like, it's the first time I've seen real life footage integrated, and I was cool. Maybe later on I'll come to appreciate it even more because of how effective it was. It was certainly powerful. I like the actor they chose for that lawyer a lot.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, the whole cast, except for a couple of jokers.
At this point, you guys know who it is.
Yeah, I think it's just the one guy. The only instance I think that I appreciated him was when he wasn't wearing his glasses.
Oh.
There was a scene where he wasn't wearing glasses. That's all.
Maybe the glasses hamper that.
I don't know. But like there was a moment where he wasn't wearing glasses. I can't remember where it was in the show. But that was the only instance I was watching him going, this is serviceable. This acting is adequate for what's going on. But every other instance, it's always that like very theatrical, extra articulated eyebrow.
And then he gets away in this episode too.
In this episode.
Yeah,
in this episode. Who knows what follows?
Who knows what happens? But like, that was kind of annoying too. I actually felt really bad for Arcadia, because he's all like, dude, our homes are being raided, our offices are being raided,
bad for him.
and you're just gonna go to New York.
In America, we call that comeuppance. He got his comeuppance.
But Tyagi didn't get his comeuppance.
He will.
He gets rewarded and he gets to go to New York.
He's
quite happy about it. He's super smug. It's like, great, yeah, I screwed all you guys, and now I just get to leave.
Well, can he ever come back?
Mofo.
Can he ever come back?
I don't know.
That's the thing. It's like you can't set foot on Indian soil again.
I don't know.
without ever being investigated. That's what it looks like to me.
Maybe.
And the thing about it is, maybe he gets deported from the U.S. back to India to be dealt with. Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, we're
one more
speculating
episode.
now, so there's no sense in doing that. Anyways, you guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Pratik Gandhi, damn good
Legend.
actor. Damn good actor. I really, really like watching him. He's definitely on my short list. So, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out, and hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm Jaby KOAY. This is
Achara KIRK.
Peace out.